But I think the nutrition part is a real misconception. So Liz, as a dietitian,
Mhm.
nutritionist, like what do you have to say to those people who are worried? And we've heard from both Danielle and Kai, that there is that we know it's frozen, but kind of what do you like? Can you get a little more specific about the health and nutrition of frozen versus fresh?
Sure, sure, sure. And I'll agree with Danielle on those barriers, that she just talked about. But when it comes to nutrition, I always say that fresh fruits and veggies are just as nutritious, if not in some cases more nutritious than fresh. So if you really think about it, and Kai touched on this before, frozen produce is frozen at its peak of ripeness. It's picked, it's frozen versus fresh, which is in a truck. It goes from California to Boston, where I live. It's in the grocery store, it's in your refrigerator, and it's starting to degrade. But we know from research, actually a 2015 study that looked at 8 common frozen fruits and veggies, so blueberries, carrots, broccoli, comparing them nutrient-wise to their fresh counterparts. And they found that when it came to nutrients, especially vitamins C and E, the frozen retain those nutrients better than the fresh. So when we say frozen can be more nutritious than fresh, it is so true.
Mhm.
And so that's an important thing to communicate to consumers that it's like nature's pause button. You're getting essentially a fresh product. And the same can be said for prepared meals. And AFI has done some really fascinating research on this where they've compared frozen entrees and side dishes. So, meat lasagna is one example, compared those main dishes and side dishes to their homemade counterparts and found that they are comparable when it comes to nutrition, similar in calories to that homemade version, similar in fat, sodium, nutrients like calcium and vitamins C and vitamins A. And so just, people don't need to feel guilty if they're going to go to the store and buy a prepared meal. And there's so many other benefits too that we can talk about, pre-portioned, less food waste. So consumers can feel really good knowing that processed foods can be a really important component of a healthy diet. We have to destigmatize them. A bag of frozen broccoli is processed, right? So it's fine to include those in the diet. So yeah, so we really need to constantly remind consumers about the nutritional benefits of frozen.